Hello everyone, it's thomasjujube and welcome to a live stream. Today we are going to be playing Raid Shadow Legends. I'm kidding, this stream is not sponsored by anyone. It's actually sponsored by me. So if you want to get a look at my next videos, I don't have anything up there now, but once I do have something up there, it will be available on my Patreon page, which is linked in the description of this video. Only $2 a month. You get to support me, and you get to get early access to all videos and access to private chat in Discord and other early access things on Patreon. Consider it if you would like to, but you don't also, instead of doing that, if you don't want to, you can also hit that subscribe button, and that's also very helpful. So this video is actually sponsored by the subscribe button. So if you hit that, it would be useful. So what are we actually doing in today's live stream? We are going to be talking about things and stuff. Essentially, it's really just the things in the thumbnail and the title and the description. Because interestingly, there hasn't really been that much of stuff recently. I feel, well, no, there has. I mean, the final form of a Kamen Rider is definitely a big deal. So I won't say there hasn't been a lot of stuff, but that is kind of the only big thing. There is also Spider Kumonos. So Spider Kumonos's Mecha Tarantula Knight. I'll be talking about Tarantula Knight first, because for Kamen Rider, even though Geats, the only real big thing is Geats IX, we also have some like images and more information about like the last half of Geats that I do want to discuss. And obviously, as most of you probably know, we also have our leaked name for the next Kamen Rider season, and there's a bit of information and rumors floating about that. So there's a bit more to discuss with Kamen Rider. Right now for Sentai, it's just Mecha. We will look at Mecha. So before we look at Mecha, who's here in the chat? I want to say hi to everyone. Hello, just a random gamer. Hello, not a good gamer. There's a lot of gamers in the chat. Hello, Kermit the Frog. Hi. I didn't even realize it was the real Kermit the Frog. Hello, Blue Area. I hope I said that right. I don't know if I did. Blue Ara, maybe. KR Spirit 205. Hi. Hello, Quentin. Hello, Darth Wang. Hello, Aaron Tan. Aaron, no, that's not. Hello, Fernando Mascara. Hello, Spider Guy. Neurotoxin says Amogus. It's true. Hello, Cyber Godzilla. Hello, Cool Caleb 33. Are you excited for Gotchard leaked next month? I mean, I don't know. We'll talk about Gotchard, but I'm not like, oh yes, I'm so excited for Gotchard. I'm just like, yeah, okay, cool. Next Kamen Rider. Hello, King Broly 314. Paula Bravo. Hello, everyone. Hello. So, what do we talk about? Wait, I do know what we talk about. This thing. These things, I guess there are multiple things that we're looking at here. So, on the right, Spider Kimonos, he made his debut and stuff. I don't believe... Yeah, I think last time I streamed, we just got the reveal of his design and Jeremy, like the actor. So yeah, since then now he's actually been in the show, so that's pretty cool. And I believe, just to touch on it, like I believe one thing I was saying that I was like interested in is like he didn't seem to be a king. So I was like interested how that would play out. And now that he's actually in the show, it seems like they're kind of building up for him to be like the Bugnarok king, because he does say that he is the main who will be king. Like, we thought he was talking about Gira, but it seems like he was talking about himself. And then so it seems like the show's kind of building up or implying that he will become the Bugnarok king. So I think it's interesting then that we're creating this parallel with Gira. Or they're both trying to be kings. Gira is obviously trying to be king of... he says everything, but obviously, I mean, mainly Shugatum, because it is his birthright, so he can't actually go and do that. And then he, like, Jeremy doesn't outright say it, but it does seem like he's also trying to be king of the Bugnarok, and that's really interesting because that's what I was hoping they would do right before the show began, and we were talking about predictions and stuff with the leaks of Spider Kumonos. I was saying that I hope, or my prediction / wish for the Sixth Ranger would be like a Bugnarok kind of a Bugnarok soldier. So they made him, and then once he turns good, then he will be, then his goal is to try to be the Bugnarok king. So we kind of create this parallel where the King-Ohgers are all kings, or Gara's trying to be a king, and then he will also try to be a king of the Bugnarok, and like we end the whole show with him being the king of the Bugnarok, and now everyone's good. And I was kind of right. Obviously he's not like made by the Bugnarok, he's not a Bugnarok soldier, but he is Bugnarok adjacent. I mean, he himself is a Bugnarok, so I guess that counts. And then he's trying to be the king of everything, so that's pretty cool. Or the king of the Bugnarok, so that's pretty cool. So I got something right, yay! And that's not the first thing I got right, because we'll talk about Geats IX in a bit, because I got that one right too. But anyways, have I seen Shin Kamen Rider? I have not seen Shin Kamen Rider. I know we had the U.S. had some American showings, and I unfortunately was not able to go. And I think they're having more tomorrow, and I don't think I'm able to go to those either. So I don't know when I'll be seeing Shin Kamen Rider, so I'm a bit sad. But I hear most people say it's good, but my friends that have seen it said that they didn't enjoy it that much. So I'm a little in the middle. I'm curious to see where I'll end up with how that is. But this is King-Ohger. There's a Spider-Man in Shin Kamen Rider, but this is a different Spider-Man. So we've already gotten a few fights with it. The Mecha, which is God Tarantula. But I think next week, we are also going to be getting the debut of the robot form, which is Tarantula Knight. And I must say, this is one of, Spider Kumonos is already my favorite suit in the show, and one of my favorite, I'd say one of my favorite Ranger designs of the last few years. And Tarantula Knight, I'd say, is about the same thing. It was, I mean, the mecha is just a spider, so it's not really anything amazing to me. But the robot form is something else. I don't know what it is, but like, it looks really cool. I love like the goggles. The goggles are cool. I love the usage of the extra spider legs in the back, so he's got like weird appendages on his arms. That's pretty neat. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, it's a very solid design. The mouth plate too, I guess. That's also another thing. He has a mouth plate, and I like mouth plates, so that definitely works out. I do like that. But the spider mode is fine too. It's not to say like the spider mode is bad. It does its job as a spider. It's just like, a big robot is much cooler. Now the disappointing thing is that it's gonna be CG. So, that's yeah. I don't know. Like, we'll have to see how it is in action, I guess, because CG mecha fights in the last few years have kind of been hit or miss, because like what is it called? The Dawn Brothers one, Dawn Zenkaio, that was its name. Dawn Zenkaio in the first few episodes of Dawn Brothers was actually really good. Like, they did really good with that animation. But then like Zenroku Zenkaio, also in Dawn Brothers, what was it called? Well, like Dawn Brothers, actually, let's just focus on Dawn Brothers. Dawn Brothers was kind of weird, hit or miss with its CG mecha fights, because Dawn Zenkaio was really good. And then Toradora Gonjin was not good. And then the few like actual fights that weren't just stock footage with Toradora Gonjin Kiwami, those were good. So it seems like this one will be more like Dawn Zenkaio, because like, looking at this picture, this is a shot from the show. Both of these are images from the show. and at least this one specifically is, you can see there's motion blur. There is movement happening here. And the problem with there's a lot of things happening here. There's motion blur. You can see there's a bit of shadows. And the problem, what made Don Zenkai's fight scenes really good is that there was motion blur, there was shadows. Meanwhile, Toradora Gonjin did not have motion blur or shadows. So it seems like at least this first fight will be leaning more towards the higher standard of mecha fights or CG mecha fights. So I think it'll be good. It is a little disappointing that it is going to be CG because it's the Six Rangers mecha. Like this is a big deal. like last year in Dawn Brothers, the CG mechas were the big clunky robots and stuff like that. Or like the Don Zenkai was their first mecha, but that wasn't their actual team mecha. The actual team mecha, what was it called? Danoni Taijin. That was a suit. That was a physical suit. So they've been using CG mechas when it doesn't really matter, like the super robots in Zenkaiger that they used once or twice in one case. So it's that's fine, but in this case it's it's the Sixth Ranger. The Six Rangers are very important in Sentai, so it's to end up with one of them, his mecha is going to be CG, is a bit disappointing. Because I would prefer the physical suits, so it's kind of sad we won't be getting a physical suit for this one. So I just noticed the spider has a clip. The model, the CG model of the spider. Also, I guess just to clarify too, I don't mind if the model here or the CG spider, it doesn't matter if that's CG because it's just that's nothing. This is just the the pre-robot. It's this being CG that's okay. But also yes, I just noticed this image. They put the clip on the toy is on the robot butt, the spider butt. I think that's kind of funny. So one other thing though that is cool about this guy is that he's coming with friends. We saw his friends a couple episodes ago. I believe their names are Spider. No, not Spider. They're Guardian Cicade, and then Guardian Pede or Pide. It's supposed to be a millipede and a cicada. And they're gonna be attaching as ornaments. So on the right, as you can see, they're both called just Tarantula Knight. But on the right, you can see the Tarantula Knight with the ornaments, and he gets a chainsaw and a double blade weapon, which I unfortunately had to cut off, or else this image would not fit on screen. But I really like this is the toy, obviously, if it wasn't obvious. I really like the dual weapon thing going on. That's pretty nice. I like that he gets a little extra thing. But also just again, the robot on its own with the spider butt becomes a gun, which just makes sense. That's what you do if you have a spider robot, because webs and all that. And it looks really cool. I like it. I liked King-Ohger, but this is the Tarantula Knight is where I was maybe I need to buy that toy. So yeah. So then there's other stuff. We'll get to that in a second. Thoughts on Spider-Verse? I wish Spider-Kimonos was in it. But I really like Spider-Verse. I saw it today. I saw it a few hours ago. It was really good. I want to see it again. I'll see it in 3 years when it's out on DVD. Would love to watch the stream, but I gotta go to school. Yes, that's good. Prioritize school over me. What is my favorite rider in Geats so far? I don't know. It's kind of hard because I like a lot of them. Maybe after this last episode, I really liked Ace again. So we'll say Ace for now. Jeremy calls himself the king of the in-between, so he may want to defeat Deathnarok and start a new kingdom where both humans and Bugnarok are welcome. Yeah, that's about what I'm thinking they'll do. Or he'll make the Bugnarok peaceful. he'll become their king, and then they become passive. I think it'll combine with King-Ohger soon because of the crown at the back. Yeah, the spider butt piece is very clearly some kind of crown, and we do know there is going to be a combination from leaks. We know there will be a combination with King-Ohger, and also, I mean, it's just kind of just what Sentai does usually. So yeah, that's definitely a headpiece. So we haven't seen the combination with King-Ohger yet, which is very interesting. We've seen the combination of all 20 shoe gods, including the ones that aren't officially revealed yet, but we haven't seen the ones with only the combination with only the ones that have been officially revealed. So that's really funny. So yeah, I'm interested in what that combination will be, because we don't really have an idea other than the crown. It kind of, going off the big final combo, it kind of seems like this Six Ranger Mecha combo will just stick the spider on the back. So that will be weird, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe in the near future they'll have a suit, but if they do, they'll need a tall, skinny stuntman. I mean, they can just design a suit that will fit a person. Like, I mean, the Sentai, the robots all. I mean, if you look at King-Ohger, like here's King-Ohger 0 with like the physical King-Ohger suit. They're very different, like in terms of their proportions, because one's using like 3D models, like I think just the toy models, and then the other's obviously a person in a suit. So the suits, even in this season, the 3D models and the people in suits don't match, or the toy proportions and the suit proportions don't match, like they always do, or they never match. So I mean, it would have been fine if I would not have minded if the proportions got a little different, if to get a physical suit. So Guardian PD Pede is a centipede, not a millipede. Oh, okay, my bad. I didn't mean to be not spider. I didn't mean to assume all bugs were the same. Will I be reviewing the Mofun anime? No, I hate Mofun. I'm kidding, but I don't. Mofun anime, yeah. I can tell this one is going to be fun to play with and pose. Yes, that's why I want it, because it looks so good, but it's also going to be so poseable, and that's really cool. Who's excited for Suzume, aka Debowski's sister? I actually did include her in the news here, purely because this seems like it'll be an interesting plot development. So, because like, I might as well talk about this now. Kaguragi has been like, not really a bad guy, but like every episode they've got a scene of him in Hercules, and Hercules is definitely a bad guy. So he's very like been skirting this line of villainy. I guess not villainy, but like they're doing what the character was initially advertised to be, which was a liar who will do anything for his people. And now we learned that it's actually not just for his people, it's to save his sister, because Hercules has kidnapped her. So on one hand, I'm like a little unsure of what's happening here, because I thought it was interesting when Kaguragi was just acting out of his own self-interest, which, to be fair, I guess he is doing, but he's doing it to save his sister. So I guess it's more of he's acting for her interest, so she does not whatever Hercules would do to a prisoner. But then on the other hand, it also makes Hercules like 10 times more evil, because it's like, wow, you kidnapped his sister to get him to do things. It's like, it's a bit much. So it makes Hercules like a better villain, because I hate him more. But I'm interested to see what they do with Debowski's character. Because I did like the thought that he was just being evil. I mean, not evil, but he was acting like this to get in the good graces of Hercules and help his kingdom, but it's more of the help his sister thing. I don't know. I guess in a weird way, it makes Hercules more likable. Or sorry, it makes Hercules less likable, but it makes Debowski more likable, and I kind of liked when he was less likable and was like, oh, what are you doing? So, oh, yes, how did Hercules kidnap her? That also, like, surely this is a violation of something, right? Like, like Hercules has been evil, but he's never like outright done anything evil, I guess. Like, it's always been like he's been like, King-Ohgers, if you don't side with me, I will. Like, he never actually outright said, or no, he did say he would invade Inkaskopa, but they had Gira, who was like a public fugitive. So like in most cases it's been like, we know he's evil, but I can see how from the perspective of civilians in the show they wouldn't think it's evil. But in this case it's like, hey, he kidnapped someone. So like, surely Debowski could be like, guys, Hercules kidnapped my sister and is holding her hostage. If you tell the Shugadam residents that, will they still be on his side? Like, I don't know. We'll have to see how it unfolds, because we literally just learned of her existence like 2 weeks ago, and we only saw her last episode, and she's going to be in the next episode a bit more. So maybe he will be like, guys, Hercules kidnapped my sister, and then they're going to save her like right at that moment, and then it's like, oh, maybe not. But then, like, I guess I'm just really interested to see what her dynamic will be with everyone as well, because, you know, everyone has their like, we already have such a diverse cast going on here, but like adding a little sister character to someone like Debowski will be really interesting, because the only other sibling dynamic we have is Gira and Hercules, and that is quite a sibling dynamic. So yeah. I feel like King-Ohger versus King-Ohger Zero will be fully CGI. Yeah, probably, because they have the CG model of King-Ohger, and they need King-Ohger Zero is fully CG. Did you miss to talk about Geats Boost Mark 9? Nope, we are starting with Sentai today. I hope she doesn't get a crushy moment on Gira. I hope she does. I think it would be nice if they end up together. Actually, no, that's not true. I think, I don't know. Maybe, I hope Gira ends up with a Bugnrock. I think that would be fun. Am I the only one that thinks Caucasus Castle is going to become a giant mech? Well, that's actually confirmed. So, yeah. Hi Marcos. I swear, aside from being the King Sentai, the King-Ohgers are just an antithesis to Hercules based on their personalities alone. That's what makes Hercules so good in being a bad guy. Thoughts on me and Mofun getting subbed and released? Well, that explains why they made a whole soundtrack album that is just Mofun songs. So, I think they signed a treaty. If they deny, they don't know. But technically, if they did, when did I be breaking the law? I don't know what this is saying. But I think it's about the Hercules thing being evil. I feel like they won't get her out yet until the Hercules rematch. Yeah, it's possible they won't get her out. I mean, I feel like this image of Debowski with his sister, to me, it would kind of imply, I mean, maybe it's Hercules letting him see his sister to be like, look, she's still alive, now do what I want. So, I don't know. I would ship Gira with Himeno. Personally, I want Himeno to end up with Yanma, because it was established that Yanma liked her, and then they never really did anything else with that, but there was a line of dialogue they had. So, not gonna lie, I have a hard time telling who's who in Sentai and some Rider. These names just make things confusing to me. I would just make up names for them personally, and then just try to remember those. That works better. The other thing that I included here in the news is this thing with Hercules, because well, we were already discussing Hercules. This would have been a good image to swap to when I was talking about his crimes against humanity, I guess, but I didn't do that, so it's fine. But he's been gone. We got the one fight with Okuwagata-Ohger, and then he dipped. He's like, that's enough fighting for me. I will not be fighting anymore, which is a little disappointing, because I thought it was really cool that Hercules had his ranger form and stuff, but it's fine. It's whatever for. I mean, as long as he comes back. If he never comes back, I'm actually gonna be very upset. But, but the other thing too is King-Ohger Zero on the top left is a thing. I don't remember if we talked about this last time. I don't remember if we knew it existed we knew I think we definitely did, because I said it was cool how just God Kuwagata Zero can control King-Ohger and create King-Ohger Zero, or King-Ohger Zero Kuwagata, or something like that. But then we also have this separate actual Zero King-Ohger. And it's made its debut we've seen it in the show, obviously, but it's actually made a fight scene debut in the Hercules side special. So maybe it will appear in the show now. I mean, it has been in the show, so maybe it will end up being a fight thing in the show. I hope it. I mean, I feel like it does, because we established that Dabowski knows about it. So, like, surely you're gonna do something with that, right? That's not just there for people who are watching the little YouTube series, right? So, yeah. Yanma changed his thoughts for Himeno after she bombed the house back in episode 3. Personally, I think that's weak. That's a weak mindset. If he really liked her, if she blew up a house, he would have liked her more. Yeah. Next we get a Bugnrock with a Kamen Rider Black RX design. That's true. I contemplated putting an image of that in here because I thought it was really funny. I was like, oh, they put Kamen Rider into King-Ohger. That's fantastic. I think the sister be a simp for Gira or become a little member of the team. Well, I mean, maybe she'll like Gira. That would be fun. I actually do think that would be like a little funny. Little member is interesting because the actress is like 30, so it wouldn't exactly be a little member if you're sticking to that age range. But I think it would be really cool if she becomes a ranger, especially too with Dabowski and Hachi-Ohger. They've really been playing up this orange imagery. Like, it's from like every version of like Kaguragi outside of him being Hachi-Ohger kind of implies he would be an orange ranger, but no, he's a black ranger. So it would be kind of fun if she became like an orange Hachi-Ohger or something like that. Also, I just realized it would be interesting to see I mean, if she becomes a Hachi-Ohger at all. Like, if she had the Ohja caliber, can she become Hachi-Ohger? Like, how does this passing of the torch thing go? Like, as long as you're royal blood, are you able to use the Ohja caliber or not? Because we know, like, I guess we have no idea if Hercules could actually become Kuwagata Ohja or not. It wasn't really established he couldn't do it. It wasn't really established he could do it. We know why Gira could, because he had royal blood. Now we know that now, but at the time we didn't know. So I guess, yeah, I don't know. Could she do it? Maybe she can't do it while Kaguragi is active. I'm interested. It would be fun to see. I can't look at Kaguragi's sister without thinking of the saber sword of echoes, the Onjuken Suzune. Her name is Suzume. That's funny. I like the fact that King-Ohger Zero is pivotal for Hercules' plan to force the other kings to submitting, since it can't control King-Ohger. That's true. Maybe he should use it more if it will make them submit, but I don't know. I think she's 27 years old. I don't remember her specific age, but I do know for a fact she's actually older than some of the other King-Ohgers, or at least I think all of them except her brother, which is actually really interesting. She's meant to be a little sister character, but she's like one of the older people in the cast, so that's interesting. Lord of the Tofu. Yes, he is the Lord of Tofu and the Tofu. I think this is the last. Yeah, that's Kamen Rider. No, we don't need to go to Kamen Rider yet. So that's about it. All I really had to talk about regarding King-Ohger. So I'm definitely still enjoying the show, I would say. I haven't seen this latest episode subtitled yet. I didn't. It seems like a bit of a strange episode to me. For a few reasons. I won't really dive into it because I'll make a short review of that. Make sure you check out my shorts if you want to hear my thoughts on every episode of King-Ohger up to this point, actually. So, I mean, other than the latest one, as I just said, I haven't seen that yet. But all the other ones were fine. Like the latest one, the one before the last one, is the only one where I was kind of like, I don't know, I'm not feeling this one. As I said in the short, I was just like, I don't know, I feel like it felt like they were trying to go for like a jokey tone, but then they were trying to like make it very serious at the same time. Cause like Yanma used the venomic shooter to make a fart joke, which is like, fine, it's whatever, it's a fart joke. But then they were like Jeremy's upset about it. He's like, I can't believe you made a fart joke. And like, I get the intent is he messed with the technology, but it's like, okay, it's a fart joke that did it. And as people have been telling me in the comments, which I did forget admittedly, is that he's upset because it was a gift to him from his mom, and he's upset they used it. But it doesn't really change like my perspective on it. Like, it's like, yeah, it was special. I already knew it was special to him, and then it made a fart joke. And also too, because like then in the episode they played up as a joke where he's like, didn't you know this was important? My mom gave this to me. And Yanma like thinks about it. He's like, no, you never said that. And he never said that. So it's like, I don't get what's happening here. Is this supposed to be funny? Like, he's upset because he never told them this? Or is this supposed to be serious because he's upset and he's going to steal all the Ohja Calibers? So that was a bit confusing for me. I was just like, I'm not sure what you guys are trying to do here. But that being said, when he kicked everyone's ass like Spider-Man, that was really cool. So if they kill off the brother and make the sister the new member and make her the Black Ranger, that'll be cool. But that's kind of killing off the coolest character in the show. They won't kill Kaguragi. We are in an era where they can't really kill off a main ranger, like unless it's the end of the show. Then I mean they could do that, but I mean even then I don't know if they'd really be able to do that. But like, yeah, we're at a point in time with Sentai and Rider even where, you know, they market these people as the faces of the show, and to switch them out would be like unprecedented. Like, they will not do that. So these people are, look at them, they're everything for the show. So I'm hoping Tarantula Knight uses the 4 guardian weapons: rolling, snail, cicada, and caterpillar. Yeah, caterpillar, it's a centipede. No, that's other stuff. But yes, I would like to see him use the other 2. Oh yeah, I completely forgot. The other big thing with Tarantula Knight is he's got God Cicada, which we've seen. It's the same color. We've seen that's someone used that to kill Himeno's parents in the Fury of the Gods Calamity event. So like, yeah. What does that mean? Because it's clearly not Jeremy, because it seems like the implication was he had that mask on for 2,000 years. So first of all, that smelled horrible, I'm sure, but maybe some people are into that. But then it also means it couldn't have been him, because we saw a chin from that person that killed Himeno's parents. So yeah, it definitely raises a question of who is, because I thought it was the 6th Ranger before Jeremy got revealed. So it's a guy who had the 6th Ranger's Zord, basically. So who is that? Where did they get it? So I would assume, I guess my current guess is, I mean, surely it has to be someone related to Jeremy, right? Because they have the same mecha thing. But like, how, I don't know. It's I don't want to say it's confusing. It's like we're back at square one. It's like I had an idea before. We got rid of it before, or we got rid of that idea. So it's like, what's happening now? So, it's weird. We are in an era of TV in general where lessons in character development are great, but parents prevent shows from introducing being unalive and other ideas at an early age. I mean, Geats has been killing off a few people. It's just you won't see them kill Tycoon or Nago permanently. So, I thought it was more lime-ish in the flashback. Yeah, I guess it could be a different color, but I feel like I feel like if they're both green, the implication is it's the same kind of shoe god. I guess we'll have to wait and see. 'Cause like, I mean, surely they wouldn't. Like, it feels like a very deliberate. Like, it's not like I guess these happen to be the same Zords. Like, it feels like it has to be a deliberate decision to introduce Cicada as a villain in Flash Season 5, as a mecha that was related to Himeno's parents being killed, and then also introduce it as one of Jeremy's weapons, and then explicitly have Himeno recognize it. Like, that has to be related. Like, it can't be, oh, I guess these just happen. Like, at the very least, we'll have Jeremy be like, oh yeah, I've seen a few other god cicadas, and I know a few people who could have used them. So, like, it has to be related somehow. They wouldn't just, I don't know, it feels like a very random thing to be like, oh, I guess they happen to have the same shoe gods. So I'm really curious if King-Ohger will have them go to the real world or not. I at this point I don't think they're going to the real world. I think it seems like they're very set in the green screen and Mandalorian screens. So does the gold spider eyes mask thing on the map flip down to become goggles? Yes, it is goggles in spider mode, so I would assume the mecha can also flip them down as goggles. The centipede chainsaw was just a big brain move. It looks very, very cool. Yeah, it is pretty creative. If you pause the episode and look at the exact same scene, what happens, you can see someone from the Red Ranger's kingdom killed her parents. Yeah, that is true. It does look like they're wearing Shoe Gotham clothing. So, it would be very interesting if it was the dad. That would be kind of insane. Like, I haven't really thought about it being the dad because I just don't know. Like, that just opens a whole other can of worms. Like, I don't even know where you go with that. Like, it would be very interesting. I would like if they did that. It's because I just, like, I don't know what you do with that. It's like, okay, so he's evil. Does that have to do with why Gira was kidnapped? Does that have maybe to do why Rackley's ended up being kind of the way he is? Is Rackley's even a bad guy? Like, or was it really just, like, parental manipulation? Where presumably that would mean he's still alive or, like, something like that. So, like, what is he doing now? What was the purpose in killing him and his parents? Is he behind the Fury of the Gods event, because as far as we know it didn't affect Shugatum. So yeah, unless you count Rackley's, we don't have an evil ranger yet. I think Rackley's counts as an evil ranger. He's a bit evil. I want more info about the smaller shoe gods such as Kumo, Ant, and Tento. I think they are just friends. They're friend shaped. Did anyone say anything about the centipede chainsaw looking a lot like Buffa's zombie breaker? Well, I think that's what happens when things are chainsaws. They look similar. So, it's very interesting that God Tarantula can forcibly control other shoe gods. I don't think that's what's happening with, like, the 3 other legendary shoe gods. I'm pretty sure that's because, like, they're friends. Like, not even as a joke. They're either friends or, like, because Jeremy has their souls, so he's able to not manipulate them, but, like, they want to work with him. So it's not really controlling any shoe gods. It is just, they're just working together. The dad was evil. Jeremy already established he wants to bring peace between the Bugnarok and Terra. I don't see how that established the dad was evil. We don't know anything about the Gira's dad and Rackley's dad, so I very much think that most of the next seasons of Sentai, until 50 at least, will be in other worlds to go off of Zenkaiger worlds. Maybe, yeah. I mean, Zen-Kaiger kind of implies all Sentai worlds are different worlds, but it's, yeah. Well, that's King-Ohger. Let's shift gears to Geats, Kamen Rider Geats. So, the big thing with Geats, as we all know, I mean, as I'm sure you all know, is we got the debut of the final form for the man himself, Kamen Rider Geats, with Kamen Rider Geats Boost Mark III and then Boost 9. So, this thing, usually when I talk about these final forms, I like to talk about the news and stuff that we don't know or things we just learned, but it's debuted, so it's kind of like we already know about it. So I guess I might as well just talk about my thoughts on it, because most of you have already probably seen the episode or fight scenes or whatever, so you probably are aware of everything that happens. So I love this, like, a lot. Like, the look of it obviously is fantastic. But, like, this is easily one of my favorite final forms in all of Rider for a few reasons. First of all, I predicted it. If you follow me on Twitter, let's see. I believe we got the leak of Boost Mark II being the final, or being the super form, a long time ago. And then we got a leak that the final form, I think in November of 2022, we got a leak the final form of Geats would be Geats Boost Mark 9. And I originally thought Boost Mark 3 would be the final form. So then when we heard there was a Mark 9 coming, I was like, okay, are we going from 3 to 9? Like, we heard it was like hidden in the belt, and a lot of people were trying to figure it out, and it wasn't in the belt, so we were actually kind of lied to. It was actually very simple. A lot of us were overcomplicating it. But I had the idea of, we knew it uses like a revolve. It had a revolve feature, so I was like, what if it uses Mark 3, and then the other half is just a new buckle, essentially. And then you put in Mark 3, you put in this other half, and then you revolve, and that's how you transform. Like, the revolving is the transformation. And I was right. I did get it a little bit wrong, because I said there was this specific like code that that would be used for the non-Mark 3 half. But at least I got it right, that one half is Mark 3 and the other half was like basically Mark 9. So I'm really happy with that. I don't mean to brag, but I am very proud of myself. I got another final form prediction right. Because I said this in like January. This is when I was like, what if one half is Mark 3 and the other half is something else? And then also I think when I was doing Hawkilles' Toku predictions, I said a weird thing that didn't happen, but I also specifically said I think the final form will have some new like ID core, and technically that's not exactly right. We don't really get a new ID core, but I did say it would like affect the ID core, and we did get like kind of a new ID core with the centerpiece thing. So I will also count that as a win. So, and also, this wasn't even a prediction. I also said that I would really like if Geats' final form did the X-Aid and Gaim thing, where Gaim's super form was Kachidoki, and his final form used Kachidoki to upgrade into Kiwami. Then I said, and then in X-Aid, obviously X-Aid's super form is Maximum Gamer, and then his final form is the evolution of that into Muteki Gamer. So I was like, it would be really, with how Geats has been with like the half and half forms, I was like, it would be really cool if they did that for this form, for the final form. And then at first it seemed like I was wrong, because we just got 2 super forms for Boost and Laser Boost, or Boost Mark II and Laser Boost, which is perfectly fine. I love that. But then, like, at the last second, then we get, oh no, it is like a 2-part evolution form with Boost Mark III and then Geats 9. And I absolutely love that. It's so cool. So, because I love super or final forms like that. I think, well, when it's a super form to a final form, I think that's cooler. But I do like this take on it because of how Geats has been, where like every form is technically like 2 forms, and it makes sense the final form is also technically 2 forms. So I think that's really cool. Um, this is as I said, this is Boost Mark III, and I like this form. I think this picture, or in this one as well. Like my one little gripe with it is this little chest part with like the white spandex that like just kind of comes down and like I don't know, it looks weird. Like the chest spandex piece looks like right below the red dot and the black part on the chest. I don't know, it looks weird. Like I'd rather we cut that out, because then when we get to Geats IX, it adds this weird thing where like there's just this random start to where like now his pants are white. I would have liked that there was a bit more black in that, basically the chest piece, and then the what then becomes the leg piece. So, but then so what? Like this is just a repaint of like of normal Boost, but I really don't mind because it looks cool. I like the I don't know, well, okay, like I don't really mind that it's a repaint because it is just half of the form and the other half is a new piece. So I think it's this nice, like, it's this cool evolution. And like, you know, the Reiwa thing has kind of been like, let's do simplistic final forms or something like that. And I think it's really cool how the simplistic final form aspect, or like the let's tie into the base form aspect of this final form, is that half of it is just a repaint of the base form. It's just a new Boost, a new Boost legs. Instead of Magnum Boost, it's like white Boost. And I think that's pretty cool. I definitely like that concept. So like the concept of this thing like really sells me on it. I think that's really cool. And then like even that's not like an exact Boost like repaint, because obviously they got the new white like spandex pieces, and obviously the white like fox tails instead of like exhaust pipes. I think that's cool. And it's also nice that it ties into Ace like a lot. Like it is clear, like it's white and red like the Geats head. I did not mean for that to rhyme. So I like that I know, I like that they kind of tied it into like it's very Geats specific. So then the revolve form, when you revolve and you get the final form, the actual final form, and would you say this is a final form? I mean, obviously not. It's like this is the final form. But like what would you classify this as? Because it's not really a super form. I don't know, I guess whatever you classify like the level 1 forms for X8 as, like, it's that to this, I guess, to Geats IX. I don't know. I think it's cool we got this multi-part like final form. Actually, I don't think it's pretty cool. I love it because the way it ties into the Geats like aesthetics is so cool, because it incorporates like the revolve on and the fact that like all the buckles can be the fact all the buckles, I guess except laser raise riser, the fact they can all be put in like any slot, either slot. I love they've incorporated that into the final form. So Geats IX looks fantastic. Like half of it is just Boost again, and I think that's cool. But then it's like a whole new piece, and it looks cool. Like I love the helmet is just like, it's very clearly Kamen Rider Geats, like normal Geats, but it's just like accentuated a bit. And that's really cool. Like the new eyes that stare into your soul is an interesting choice, but I think that's cool as well. Like the chest piece is really cool to me as well. Like it's like thrusters. I don't know how to explain it, but like the Boosts have always been like bikes, obviously, and then like in this case, I guess if it's Boost Mark IX, it's like thrusters, I guess, like the evolution from a normal motorcycle to like whoosh thrusters, super thrusters or something like on the chest. I think that's really cool. And then like the 9 tails, like okay, like the whole like concept or like joke whatever here of like so at least like I don't know if it's a fox thing or if it's just Japanese foxes and like that kind of folktale, but like there's a thing going on with the concept of 9 tails. That's just what, at least in Japan, foxes will have 9 tails and it means they're powerful or whatever. So the belt is a fox with 9 tails. Mark 9 is supposed to be like the 9 tails, but also the name where it's Geats 9 instead of like Geats Boost Mark 9. Geats 9 sounds like Kitsune, which is 9-tailed fox, or at least fox. No, I think it is just fox, Kitsune. So like his name is just Fox now, Kamen Rider Fox, essentially. I think that's nice. And then the form has like the 9 tails. They've given in the form of 9 scarves. He went from 1 scarf to 9 scarves, and that is really cool. Like, I love how they've been using it in action shots where it flows out like a cape. Like, it looks more like a cape rather than 9 scarves, and that's awesome. I think it looks really awesome. So definitely one of my favorite final forms, I would say. Especially after the fight scene. I will admit, I am very disappointed we didn't get a final form insert. That's 2 years in a row without a final form insert. It really sucks. But at least we got at least they played Trust last, so I guess that's a little something. And then the fight itself was pretty cool. I liked seeing it beat up Gazer, and a few of you have already mentioned that. Yes, we did get, actually, here we go. Yeah, we got the return of final form weapons. Kind of the return. Like, Cross Saber obviously uses Cross Saber. It's a final form, a new weapon made for a final form. But like, at least that one's a bit different because the sword itself is the form. So it's kind of like, I mean, especially too with Saber as a show, it's like, well, yeah, the final form would be a sword. This is the first weapon that is just a weapon for a final form in like 10 years. So that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, it is just kind of mid. In my opinion, it is a bit mid. Actually, no, its usage in the show almost made me buy it, but I will be skipping out on the sword toy for now. Because it's just like, it is clearly like a repaint of the Magnum shooter. They've just added this new top piece, so it's a railgun, or it's like Optimus Prime's sword. And I like, it's a bit I don't want to say it's a bit disappointing because it really doesn't affect anything. I just think the way Geats has been going, like the forms, or not the forms, like there's been this underlying element of like weapons being tied into the forms. Like that's the armed buckles. That's their whole thing. The big buckles all summon a weapon, or if they don't, they're like more powerful in a different way. So monster like just makes your fists big, or boosts. The boost summons a motorcycle, and that's what makes it important. Then like what makes Command Twin unique is that the weapon is incorporated, like is part of the form. You have to detach part of it. What makes Powered Builder so interesting is that it has unique weapon components. What makes Laser Boost so unique as a form is that the weapon summon component is someone else's transformation device that becomes a gimmick for Ace to use. So in this case, it's just, we kind of go back to the we just go back to what the original buckles were. Like, you use a buckle and it summons a weapon. It's not really anything super unique in terms of like that weapon concept. Like, it's a little, for me, it's a little disappointing to go from like half of Geats' super form is Jean, Beroba, Kekera, and Kyun's transformation device. That's really awesome. To the final form weapon is just is just a sword railgun thing. But then like I'm not sure like how you make it unique without just redoing what the form is. Like the only way I can see you step up from the laser raise riser concept is you have to get rid of the revolve on thing, and then you have to make the second buckle like somehow plays with the sword gun or something to that effect. So I'm not sure. The thing is, I'm like, I wish they did something else, but I'm not sure what I wish they did. Just something else, essentially. Because yeah, like it's not even the fact it is like a remold of the Magnum shooter. Like I guess I would say in a weird way that just like adds more to it. That's like, oh, it's just kind of a boring thing, and it's a remold like weapon, a boring remold weapon. Like that is unfortunate, but it's more the fact that it doesn't have anything unique going for it, I guess. Reminds me of the keyboard weapon from Xade. I can kind of see that. I don't know. All I really see is just Optimus Prime's sword in white and red. So, I wish they did more with gun mode. It feels like Magnum with a sword. The railgun mode wasn't all that different. Yeah, I think it's cool it has a railgun though. I think it's pretty cool. I want to say they could have borrowed some design elements from Build Hawk Gatling or the Gearslinger, but fans would call it, I assume you mean they would call it a knockoff. So, I mean, it is a knockoff. They just repainted the toy they already had. So, I've always had a weird feeling about Punk Jack, and I'm not a fan of reusing the bear head for the third time and how it doesn't match his main buckle. Yeah, I guess so. I don't really mind. Punk Jack is fine. Punk Jack is back. Any comments on the Dark Geats rumor? That's true. Yes, there is a rumor that we are getting the Dark Geats. I don't think it's a rumor for the movie. It's just a rumor in general that we are getting. Actually, speaking of the movie, here we go. I timed it right. Speaking of the movie, we got announcements for the cast in the movie. Punk Jack is in the movie, but he's also in the show, so I don't know. It's not much of a surprise. But apparently Kalo and, unfortunately, Lopo, whose face I am blocking out a bit with me here on the corner, she is in the movie, and I am blocking her out. But yes, she's in the movie. Kalo's back in the movie, and Punk Jack is in the show, but he will also be in the movie. And that's essentially all we know about the movie. But if the others are coming back in the movie, it seems like they will transform. I mean, Punk Jack is probably guaranteed to transform because he's in the show. Kalo maybe is a maybe, but Lopo is. They haven't said it, but it seems like she's confirmed because that picture of Lopo using Boost is a new picture. That is that's not. She never used Boost in the Forest like that. So that's definitely a new picture of her. She's definitely transforming, and she's going to be using Boost or maybe Fever Boost again. Or I guess Boost with the Fever Buckle, which is the same thing. So that's cool. I'm not sure. I don't know any. We don't know anything else of that. It's not just me. We don't know anything else. We just know these three are in that movie. And I guess they'll play some role if they are being accentuated. I would, oh yes, as some of you are pointing out, they're in, Nat Sparrow's not there. Punk Jack is like a cowboy now, and Lopo is like an archer, so it definitely seems like there's some kind of little dress-up game happening in the movie. I would really like if they did something like the Revice movie, the crossover movie, which I've not seen yet. But I know in that they did like they just made a whole new game, Desire Royale. I think it would be really cool if they did something like that in this movie. They did another game, and now they're all they're all like in outfits or something. They're all like doing whatever. I don't know. I really want. I don't want another. I'm gonna say this every year until it happens. I really want just a movie that has nothing to do with the show. All right, like one of the old Heisei movies, just a movie. That's just a movie, like an alternate dimension movie. I want that. I really, I don't want to say I despise it, but it just really bugs me when these movies try to tie into the show, because it always comes off like it's really annoying. Like it's like, oh, this is a thing that's advertising the movie that's out, or it's like it's like always something that's like a character basically looking at the camera and is like, buy our tickets. Which, to be fair, I guess, I mean, that's fine, I guess, if you want to market the movie in the show. But then it's like they look at the camera and they're like, go watch the movie right now, or else you won't understand the show. I don't know, it's very for me, I'm just like, stop, it's annoying. Like in Revice, I mean, it wasn't that bad in Revice. I haven't seen that Revice movie though, but like it was just like very odd. Like Olteka was like, that moment with Olteka was like, I'm clearly just like so they could put Olteka in the movie, right? Because like it didn't have any, it didn't do anything in the show bringing him back. So, and like during the show, it was like so many points where we were like, does the movie take place now? Does the movie take place now? No, it doesn't. So I would just like a movie that doesn't take place during the show. It just happens. Or maybe you do like what Kira Major did, where like they released the movie like like towards the end of the show, but they established it took place like before Yodona even debuted. So it was just like it took place during the show, but like it didn't reference anything in the show. Especially too, because I just feel Geats is where we're at right now. It like I don't know how the movie ties in, like unless this arc ends and then there's a movie that happens and then there's like another arc, I guess, like Revice did, but I didn't really like it in Revice. I don't know, it's very I'm complaining about things that maybe won't happen or that like are just like have no basis in reality. But I don't know, I just like with how Geats ended, or this latest episode ended, I'm just like, how does this movie tie in? Is this gonna mess things up? I don't know. So anyways, this started because someone brought up Dark Geats. So we are allegedly, there's a black repaint of Geats IX appearing, which first of all sounds very hot. Please sign me up. I would like to wear that, actually. But then second off, it's not, or at least as far as we know, we don't know where it's appearing. We literally don't know anything except that it's supposedly happening. Is it happening in the show? Is it happening in the movie? I don't know. I see, this is a case where it's like, I'd like it to happen in the movie, because I don't know if I really want a Dark Geats repaint. I mean, I think I want this repaint to happen because it sounds hot, but I don't really want it to happen in the show. I don't know how it fits into the show, I guess. But if it would be cool if it's in the movie, I guess. I did see someone point out that maybe the bike, the Boost Striker, could have become the final form weapon, and I do think that does sound like the kind of final evolution that like I would like if they were just like the Boost Striker, like essentially the evolution is the Boost Buckle goes from summoning the Boost Striker to Ace kind of becomes the Boost Striker with Geats Mark II, to now the Boost Striker is, he summons it again, but now it's a weapon or something like that. That does sound like the kind of thing that was missing. So yeah. I've seen people do edits of Geats IX in black, and damn, yes, I agree. I saw those edits and I was like, ooh, yes, let's do that. I think Geats IX is Ace's dad. We don't know anything about Ace's dad, so they definitely could, it definitely could happen. Since Geats IX is the final form, Boost Mark III would be referred to as a penultimate form. That makes sense. Ben and John should use the theme song version of the Beat Buckle. Yes! Oh my goodness. Yes, let's do that. It would have Koda Kumi X Shonen no Kaze branding on it, but yes, let's do that. I wish someone from the first game we saw entirely returned, either Mary or Dupin or someone else. Yeah, that would be really cool. They could still return in this movie. I don't know. Surely they're not done announcing cast members. Maybe we'll get another. Maybe they'll announce another 3. That would be really cool. I'm not very sure how the movie will tie into the show. If I recall, it's meant to release with a superhero Senki type movie with King-Ohger. That's not true. Everyone says that because they are promoting the movies together, but it's not a crossover. It is a Kamen Rider Geats movie and a King-Ohger movie. They're two separate things. They're just promoting them together because they're going to show both of those movies together, but they are two separate movies. We are getting a new Game Master. Does that mean we're getting a new variant of Glare/Gazer? Probably not, because the Vision Driver toy is available now. For people have it, so they would have to make... They probably wouldn't make a new sound because it won't be in the toy, but they also could do that because it's Bandai. I hope they don't. If you have to do something, do it like we did with Gazer in the last episode. Just paint Glare differently, but still call it something else. You could call it Glare 3, but like it would still use the Glare sound effect. So, Geats pulled in Aizen from Bleach. I haven't seen Bleach, so I don't know what that means. Lopo seems to be a Japanese archer, and Keiro looks like an old English businessman. Time travel time. I mean, you're definitely right with Lopo. Kalo kind of just looks like I feel like that's just how he normally dresses. He doesn't look that different to me. I look at these two and I'm like, yeah, they look... Punk Jack and Lopo, I'm like, yeah, they're definitely dressed differently. But I look at Kalo and I'm like, yeah, that looks like how he dresses normally. New P Bandai Vision Driver repaint. No, let's not talk about that. I love Boost 9. It's one of the only white final forms. Only other ones I can think of is Genius Build, Mugen Ghost, and kinda Agito Shining. Kiwami Gaiman, Infinity Wizard, don't count, those are silver. That's colorist. But yeah, it looks cool. They could make another Providence card. They could. That would be such a stupid way to sell another card, because it doesn't do anything. But you are definitely right. I could see them selling another card and it gives a new form. And that's their way of like, look, buy this and you can get a new Glare form, but it doesn't do anything different in the belt. What if Geats brought back Girori? I mean, they could. He got flowers, but at this point, it's been ages ago. They could have definitely brought him back. It's very possible. Especially, again, the big thing, he did come back for the Punk Jack special. So... He definitely, it's clear he is open to coming back for things. So maybe he'll come back in the show. I don't know. I hope not. Actually, well, let me rephrase that. I hope he doesn't come back and has like a role. I really do hope at some point in the end of the show, or like kind of like what Saber did, where they had like Toma talk to the people that died in Saber. I guess I won't spoil that, but like they were like ghosts and he was talking to them. I would like if they did something like that in Geats, and we see all the side characters and stuff we've seen. Like, they actually kind of did something like this in X-Aid, so it's very possible, because same writer. I'd really love if we got some moment and we just see people going about their lives. Like, we get to see Kalo, he's doing whatever. We get to see Lopo and her family. We get to see Dapon in school, or maybe he graduates, or maybe he kills someone, because he seems capable of that. We see Mary's in jail or something. Like, I'd love just a montage of seeing all of these different people in their like going about their daily lives free of the DGP. I think that would be a really fun way to end the show. And then that would include Girori. Maybe we see him in the future. The thing is, given latest information in the show, where the future people, or at least the game masters, dissolve to those pixels the same way Girori did, so it seems kind of implied that Niram just killed Girori by snapping his fingers, which is kind of funny, but also kind of wild. You killed that guy. Okay. That's how Punk Jack always dresses. What do you mean? That's a fair point. I was going to make a joke that he actually does look... He looks very... not comfortable. He looks like he would normally dress like that. So. Which of the 3 rumored forms am I the most excited for? Tycoon's Shogun, Buffamao, or Fantasy? Hey, look, those are 3 buckles that I have included images of that we're going to talk about next. Can the Providence card be used in the Laser Raise Riser? I have not done it myself, but I've seen other people do it. And yes, you can use it. It doesn't do anything. But it does... It fits in the slot. Or actually, it fits in the slot, and it actually will disable the finish mode in supporter mode. So it actually does... It makes the gun do less, so in that way it does do something. I guess it's up to you. Can decide if that does something or if that makes it do less. But what if Geats movie is a time travel game? Oh, because of the different DGP time periods. I've seen a few people saying that, but it just hit me that they time traveled before, so or the whole thing is time travel. So that would be really cool. I wonder what the show could come up with to match the destruction creation powers Geats has now. I do have an idea for that, but I will discuss that with these power-ups because it's related to these. Will we see Neon's dad become a rider? Maybe. It's possible. It's up in the air. Need a Dupont redemption. No, please don't redeem Dupont. Actually, I did... Has anyone else noticed that Geats has actually been lacking in, like, redemption arcs? Like, all the villains have just died. Like, Ghidorah just died. Niram has left the show. The gardener just died. Like, Beroba is still kind of kicking around, but she doesn't seem like she'll get a redemption. So, I haven't seen many people talk about that, but, like, in the given the recent years of Rider... where it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna redeem this villain. We'll introduce this character as a villain and redeem them. We'll introduce this character as a villain and redeem them. Like, Geats really hasn't been doing... Like, the closest we've gotten is Buffa, but Buffa was never introduced as a villain. He was introduced, like, as kind of an asshole, and he's leveled up to being a villain, essentially. So it kind of makes sense if he would get a redemption. So, yeah, I don't know. Punk Jack looks like he's in his Star Ninja phase. Wow, just because he's dressed as a cowboy? I'm kidding. Geats is going to restore destroyed ID cores. Kind of. I will discuss that. I have an idea. Letter 2. I would like to see her come back because she didn't do much. Yeah, well, she's dead. But I assume if you mean for the movie, well, she's dead, so I don't know if that would work. But sure, let's revive her and bring her in the movie. They tried Niram and honestly worked on me. That is, yeah, they did kind of redeem him. Actually, I haven't seen the episode subbed yet, but like it's like a last minute thing, and they killed him. They didn't do a redemption, and now Geats is fighting alongside Gazer. Like, all the Glare and Gazer riders have been evil and have stayed evil. Every single fight with Gazer and Glare, he is fighting Geats, or he's fighting... Actually, he's only really fought Geats and Tycoon and Nago in the one scene. But, like... Or no, he fought... Like, the only... the only instance of Glare, like, being a good guy is when they were fighting Buffa. And that's because Buffa went, like, full-on super villain. So, like, it's really fun. Like, they're actually keeping bad guys as bad guys. And, like, especially, too, we finally, like, hit this... Like... The thing with Geats 9 defeating Gazer, part of what makes it feel so impactful is, like, we've been building up to this. Like, we introduced Glare in the very, like, the second arc of the show, and he's super powerful and all that, and they didn't really defeat him. Like, I mean, it took 2 commands and a Nago to just push back Glare, but what really defeated Ghidorah was Niram snapping his fingers. Gazer was essentially undefeated. Like, the only thing, like... Or, sorry, let's not skip to Gazer yet. Glare 2, then, is basically just Glare. And, like, he got defeated by a supporter, and then it took a laser boost to defeat Glare with the Laser Raise Riser. So it's like that technology, I guess, would defeat the Glare Riders. But then Gazer has been shown to be much more powerful. And it, like, the only thing that really defeated him was just being blindsided by Buffa. So it wasn't really Buffa, like, defeating him. It was just like, cheat code or whatever. I don't know. That's like, it's like if I'm playing Fortnite and I'm camping the whole game until there's a 2v2, or sorry, a 1v1, and then someone's defeated and the last guy is like 10 HP, and then I hit him with a 1 hit from my assault rifle. and then I do the gritty, would that count as a victory? It's up to you. That's essentially what defeated Gazer the first time. So like we finally reached this point where Gazer's actually been defeated, where with Geats IX. So it's like this really satisfying like evolution of the power sets and the development of the glares and the Gazers and stuff. Like we've built up to this final form like in a weird way throughout the course of the season, and I think that's really cool. If they wanted new noises for the Vision Driver, they can make the card do its own noises, or they can make an attachment for the buckle side thing. The card is definitely too small to have its own noises, but doing something with the buckle, they definitely could do that. Like I don't think there's a blank sound kind of thing, but there is. I mean, they could obviously incorporate something into the buckle, so that's actually, I would say that's definitely possible, incorporating some kind of side buckle thing. Buffalo was always more of an anti-hero. That is a good point. Yeah, so he hasn't really gotten a redemption because he never went to the point of needing one, I guess. I don't know, however you want to look at that. So these things, as I brought up earlier, we definitely talked about these last time. I remember I made that funny little image of Tycoon, Kachidoki Shogun, Buffa, Omagio Mao, and Seeker Fantasy, but now we know it will be Nago Fantasy in addition. So these are images of the buckles. I believe these are, I mean, obviously still like keep it with a grain of salt. This could be wrong. But like these are basically, we got a leak of like Geats IX in this style and it was like 100% right. So this is basically what the buckles will look like, essentially. I would be surprised if they were wrong, is basically where we're at. So again, this is Tycoon Shogun, this is what Buffa Mao is supposed to be, and this is supposed to be the Fantasy Race buckle. So we don't really know, we don't really know anything beyond these images. Well, actually no, for Fantasy we know a bit more. We know that this is supposed to be a remold of the ninja buckle that Tycoon uses. So this part on the left is like the part you pull out and push in. And then this part on the right, like you can see where it looks like ninja. And then this middle circle piece is supposed to be like the part that spins. So you can see where it's supposed to be like a ninja repaint kind of thing going on. But the reason I say we know a bit more about this is because, so apparently it's supposed to be introduced in, oh actually yes, as someone pointed out, we know the sound because it's actually a sound in the driver. This is essentially just a normal raise buckle. So that's fun. But we're told that this is going to be introduced with Seeker. Seeker is going to return in the show, or appear in the show, return after his appearance in the movie, and he's going to be using this buckle. Then, somehow, it falls into the hands of Kamen Rider Nago. But when Nago uses it, she's going to be using a brand new gold version of her original core ID, and then she's going to use it with this buckle, and supposedly, I believe, the suit will change colors or something. Like it'll be a different color when she uses it. Well, it's either, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be a different color suit when she uses it, or if that's just talking about the fact she's got a new core ID, so she's technically different colors, but maybe the fact she has a new core changes the suit colors, something like that. Either way, I think it's like I'm excited for this. Like I've seen there's been a bit of controversy because Nago's final form is just a normal buckle. It's just Fantasy is in the driver. Like it's just a normal sound. It's a normal buckle. It's just like a Magnum, basically. And it's even like Seeker's gonna be using it, so it's also like a Seeker power up or item essentially. So it's like she doesn't even get her own unique thing in a way, but obviously we haven't seen it in the show yet and like its functionality, but like just from the simple fact that she's getting a new core is what makes this really interesting to me, because as we know, her core broke. It's gone. So the fact she's getting a new new one is like really interesting, because like she has to take this like new evolution to become a rider again. She needs a whole new core ID, and no other rider in the season has 2 core IDs. So it's really cool that like she gets this unique aspect of a brand new core ID, and presumably it will like super synchronize with fantasy, and maybe that's why it changes colors or something. But I think it's really cool that she gets like a new core ID, and then like she is getting like a new buckle, right? She's not just reusing beat. It would be really cool though if like the beats, or not, though, like her final form is not just fantasy, like if it's fantasy beat or something like that, like, or fantasy boost, she just permanently uses boost. Like I would think no, I don't know. I think it would be like a next step up of like she gets to use 2 buckles, but one of them's like this brand new buckle. But just the fact she's getting a new core ID, I think that's really cool. I think it's interesting she gets this unique like aspect to her final form. No one else gets a new buckle, or sorry, core ID. So do I know how many episodes this season is getting? No. Seeker will lose badly like last time, probably. As much as I'd love to see these forms, it's probably going to take several years for the specials to come out and reveal these forms, but they're nice thoughts. I'm not sure what forms you're specifically referring to, because these are happening in the next month. So this is another thing we will talk about. Best Fever perfect match form. Yes, I forgot. That is the other thing I was thinking. It would be really cool if her final form was not fantasy, it was fantasy, or Fever fantasy. So it's 2 fantasies. That would fit really. That would be really cool, I would think. So gold version of Nago or beat, because Nago already has gold detailing. It's supposed to be a gold version of the buckle, the core ID, because the core ID is black. So it would be a gold version of that, and then it would change her entry form. So she's the only rider to get a new entry form. So, you know, it's cool. I mean, the others have kind of changed their entry forms, but whatever. Maybe they will do an electronic core with sounds. That would be cool, but I mean, then they would have to find a way to make it interact with the buckle, which would be cool, actually. I wouldn't mind that. Fantasy is just basic female rider treatment. Valkyrie and Jean were the only ones that saved themselves from that. I don't know what you mean by basic female rider treatment, and then mention Valkyrie. When Valkyrie got 2 forms in the entire show, and one of those was her base form. So Nago is actually getting like a final form thing. Like she's getting a whole new buckle, a whole new core ID. Like she's not. This isn't really basic final form treatment. This is something cool. Like I understand if people are like, oh, I wish she got like 2 new buckles, or like something like Geats IX. Like sure, I get it. I'm personally okay with it because she's getting a new core. That's a unique thing to her. She's getting fantasy. That's gonna be something cool. Yes, someone pointed out, it could be, or I've seen a few people point this out, that like maybe that core is Akari Kurama's like ID core, or something, like it's linked to her DNA, but since like Neon is like basically Akari but grown up, like that allows her to use that core, something to that effect. That would be really unique. Regardless of form, it'd just be cool to give more focus to Neon given her revealed backstory. That, yeah, if it's if the core is linked to the past personality, that would definitely fit with the new thing, the development. What if Nago gets Boost Mark II and uses Kyun's Laser Razorizer? I don't think that's happening. Fantasy Fever would be great because Nago used the Fever form the most out of all the riders. That's true. Maybe it's a Boost Mark III situation where there's a way to detach half the buckle and put it on the other side with the sound unlocking with the revolve on. I don't think that's happening with Nagos because we've been told it's just fantasy, and we know it's just fantasy in the belt. But these are supposed to be. I mean, just looking at them, it looks like it's supposed to be like Geats IX, where the where the belt, you can't even see the desired driver in these images. Like, it's basically just a whole new driver, which is really cool because that's what the whole thing with Geats has been, where it's like, let's build a driver, or like add parts, and it's like obscuring the driver, creating a new driver. And that's what, like, the final form is like a whole new take on that, where you cover the core ID, and it's just like, what? Where did the desired driver go? So these would be taking on that same concept, where we're covering up both parts of the driver, and now it's like, oh, where did the core ID go? I guess that's also why I think people are upset with Nago's thing, because she's not doing that. She's still using like a normal buckle essentially. But I think it's cool. I already discussed this. So so Tycoon, Shogun, I think these are supposed to be the two halves of the buckle. I didn't include the image because I couldn't find it, but there's like another image that implies that like the buckle is like two. You sheath the sword. The blade on the right side, where I am, fits into the left side. So you like reverse it and combine them together, and then you'd insert it into the belt. Or no, you wouldn't insert it like that. Then to insert it into the belt, you'd take the sword out and then insert it the other way, which seems really cool to me. But it's kind of cool, but also like I'm not gonna lie. At the same time, I'm like, I don't see how that works exactly. And then Buffa, we don't really know anything about it other than it looks like this. I assume this is when it's attached in the belt. So yeah. But like, I'm a bit okay. So their usage in the show. My assumption with where this this ties into the last arc of the show, because where I see this going is that Geats is now this is his Desire Grand Prix. With the ending of the last episode, this is his Desire Grand Prix. The Grand Prix is back. So these power-ups are presumably the other characters powering up to participate in this Desire Grand Prix. However, I could see it going like a few different ways. Like, either since this is his Desire Grand Prix, now he's just giving people power-ups for fun and they use power-ups and whatever. Or I was kind of thinking like maybe he makes this a game to defeat him. So Ace is now the target of this Desire Grand Prix. Now you have to fight Ace. So these power-ups are a direct response. Like, to fight Ace with his two-buckle form, Tycoon would need his own two-buckle form. Buffalo would need his own two-buckle form. Nago would need her own two-buckle form, but she's only getting one buckle, but it's fine. It's whatever. So, to me, this final form, or this final arc, I think is going to be, like, clearly it's going to be one last game in the DGP run by Ace. And I think it's him making all the others, like, try to fight him to get their wish. So now now they all have to power up to fight him. So yeah. That's what I'm predicting. The thing that I was going to mention where I'm like unsure is like, this is just a weird thing with how I am with the Geats toys. I don't know how these will work. Like, I mean, I know that these are two buckle halves. Like, this does not include Fantasy, because Fantasy is just a normal buckle. So, like, how do these two forms, how do these buckles work? Because, like, other than you insert them in the belt. I know someone's gonna say that. But, like, because, okay, so with Geats, all the Geats forms have been two halves, right? With Command, like, one half is great, the other is a buckle with its own sounds. With Laser Boost, one half is Mark II, a sound in the belt. The other half is Laser Boost, a buckle with its own sounds. Geats IX has been one half is Mark III, a buckle with its own sounds. The other half is or sorry, Mark III is a sound in the belt. The other half is a buckle with its own sounds. With these, one of them will obviously be a buckle with its own sounds, right? It'll make the driver shut up and do everything. But what does the other half do? Because, it has to have a sound, right? Because it's just because of how the toy works. Without one, if the buckle doesn't have a sound, then, it's just a piece of plastic sliding into the belt. There's no sound coming out of the belt. There's no insertion, there's no desertion. And then even the lights won't fill up the whole thing. So then, then you need to have one buckle have sound, or both buckles need sounds and need to do something in the belt. But then, then what, the buckle that doesn't, the secondary buckle, what does it do? What sound does it make? If it makes its own sounds in the belt, or if the belt makes its sounds, what belt sound does it make? If the belt doesn't make its sounds, then what sounds will it make on its own? Because it'll have insertion and desertion sounds now, but there's this other half. So will they both make a jingle? Will they both not have a jingle? It's very... I don't want to say it's confusing. I'm very interested in what they do with the functionality, because also too, this kind of bugs me a little. We'll have to see, because obviously we don't know really anything about these forms, but it kind of bugs me a bit with the philosophy of the Geats toy line, because it was really cool that up until this point everything has been two halves. What is it called? Even the Gigant buckle half, that has a form piece associated with. I mean, I guess these will too, but I don't know, it's just kind of annoying that we don't get the two half forms anymore. It's just two buckles and we skip right to a final form. I feel like I would have really liked if they did something if it was just a singular buckle, the Tycoon Shogun buckle, and then he uses it with Ninja or Boost or whatever, or maybe Boost Mark III. Maybe one half is Boost Mark III and the other half is Shogun. That would have been really interesting. But this image kind of bugs me, because what I see is just two halves, and one half is gonna make all the sounds. It's okay, that's kind of the other half is not gonna do anything. It's kind of boring to me. So I've seen there's been a bit of discussion on these during my little rant. So let's see. I think Tycoon's form will be linked to Kekara, or maybe Kekara dies for Keiwa or something. I think Kekara and Beroba could very well be the final form enemies of Shogun and Mao debuting, which would be kind of cool. Do I think Buff is going to keep his Jamashin form, or is it going away? I think it's going away. I mean, we're getting this, so either way, it's not going to be very useful coming up. But I'm pretty sure it's going away, because Geats is now because the world was reset and stuff. What if Nago's final form is Fantasy and Beat? That would be cool. These buckles might not even be accurate. That's true, but we have nothing else to discuss regarding these buckles, so might as well discuss them. I think you unsheath or pull the sword like Saber for Shogun. That's possible, but I don't know how. I don't know, it would be very tiny. It would be like a knife. I know the toys are usually small, but that would be really small. That would actually be really badass, though. I would love that. I assume it works like Powered Builder in the Gigant holder buckle. One of them just does nothing sound-wise and plugs into the driver at once, making armor for the top and bottom. That does seem like what's going to happen. One's just going to make the great sound, and then the other is going to do something. Geats IX is like the goddess himself, but he doesn't use the happiness of sacrifices to reconstruct the world, and cannot create matter out of nowhere, so the power-ups maybe comes from the will of them. That's possible. If Geats revises canon, it is. Geats thought about it in the show. it'd have to take place between Ep 15 and 16 since it's after Buffa died and Ghidorah is still Game Master. Yes, it is weird in canon, but it is canon. I'm also not sure what that has to do with the buckles, but maybe it doesn't. So I'm thinking back to the smaller buckle. Shogun should not require revolving at all, and instead should just push the sheath outward. That'd be really cool. I do think one of these is going to revolve, though, for the transformation, because we know there's a revolve. There's a sound, or there's a code in the belt where if you revolve, the belt says nothing. And I thought that's what Geats IX was going to use, but it doesn't. So one of these might use it, or one of these. We know what this one uses. Might be, yeah, a lot of people are saying it might be like Powered Builder. I like that Buffa looks completely different since this whole thing is going against how the DGP works. That's interesting, yeah. Maybe sort of by like how 9 worked, where with the standby music playing until you enter the other half. Well, that still doesn't erase the question of what does the buckle you insert into the driver do. So, if they both have sounds, they can take a page from Kachidoki and Kiwami arms where the form has the sounds playing back and forth. That is possible. It's just the thing is, I'm like, that seems a bit much. Or I don't know, like, would they do that? Like, what? Because if they did it with Kachidoki and Kiwami, because Kachidoki had to exist as a form individually. These don't have to exist as individual forms. Both buckle halves are meant to go together. So, yeah, it's just like, I guess from a creation standpoint, it's like, do we need, do you need both buckles of sounds? Isn't Boost Mark III a single buckle from its shape anyway? Looks like it could be used with another buckle. Yes, it is a standard buckle. People have already used it with, you can use it with anything. It is, or not anything. Anything that could work with other buckles, you can. It leaves that room there. So that's why I'm thinking, or that's why I said, like, it would be cool if these forms used Boost Mark III as the other half. So it was a single buckle that had sounds, but oh well. The real question is, what did Kekura and Beroba wish for? People who read Japanese have actually, like, inspected the, like, their wishes. You could look up close and see that I think Kekura wished for, or no, Kekura's is a bit hard. Beroba, 100%, I believe, said she wished for a world, or she wished to stay in this world until she sees true misery. And Kekura wished for something similar. He wished to stay in the world as well. So that's why both of them didn't leave in the grand end. They both wished to stay there. So, yeah. That's why they're still there next episode. I think Mao will have the revolve mechanic, and the claws will pop out kind of like how Zombie works. Yeah, that seems pretty accurate. Brought up Geats X Seeker because Seeker is returning. Yes, that's true. I mean, that would imply the movie's canon if he's returning, I feel. I don't think there's a point in asking what will they do next, because so much of Geats as a show is predicated on surprising us, so we literally cannot guess. Yeah, but it's fun to talk about what could happen, even if you know you're going to be wrong. I hope Tycoon or Buffa still use Revolve on during their forms, because it'd be a shame for that feature to go away with these forms. Yeah, that's another thing too, I guess, where if, like, because Geats IX revolves to transform, so it's fine that, like, he doesn't really revolve. But yeah, it's kind of disappointing, like, these wouldn't revolve. It's just, what are you going to do, revolve this into an upside down bowl? No. So, yeah, it is a bit, it's a similar thing where I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to say I'm not excited for these, but I'm like, I don't know, looking at them, I'm like, I don't really like how this is going to go. So these buckles are not posed to revolve on. If they get the new weapons, and those weapons are basement, like the command twin buckles, how you have to charge the weapon, then get the form. I mean, maybe, but we haven't been told there's any weapons coming with these. So, thoughts on how they all get their final form? I believe that they are, I think it's gonna be part of this last game with Ace. Since Ace is the game master, he's letting them all take one last shot to get either he's letting them or like they just start fighting to get his powers. Either way, I really do think Geats is like, or Ace is maybe turning into like not the bad guy, but like he's the one everyone's trying to fight in this last episode or last arc of the show, I think. Is the blue and yellow buckle for Nago or Punkjack? It is. That's not. It is for Nago. This is the fantasy buckle that Nago will be using. Will Nago get a V Cinema or Buffa goes first? I have no idea. I feel like Tycoon would be first, but who knows? Also, like, I feel like... No, I was going to say, like, it would be weird for anyone to get a V Cinema because everyone's getting final forms, but I guess they don't really care about that. So, what about the Shark Buckle? The Shark Buckle was a concept art drawing based off of a kid's design, so it's not actually a thing that's happening. I feel like one of the final forms will function like Command, but like complete polar opposites in theme. Sure, that could be possible. We are 2 weeks away from the Tycoon Shinobi Web special. I did not know that, but that is also cool. That looks exciting. It's a weird... Let's have all of them, the ninjas meet special, but it's fun. I feel like the DGP is more important than just a normal show in the future world because the power to remake the world, even for a super advanced future society, seems like a lot to give to just a show. Maybe they don't even know. Maybe they all think... No, they know it's a reality show. So, I mean, the future is apparently like they can design humans the way they want. So maybe they don't really need this this big goddess of creation thing. Thoughts on the Geats IX rumor? Or Dark Geats IX rumor. I hope it's true, purely because I think the suit would be hot. Tycoon already has the Shinobi V Cinema. That's not a V Cinema, so he still and it's a Shinobi tie-in, so he could still get his own V Cinema that's just his. Here's an idea. What if they were able to revolve on to get different power sets, like a tank form and a speed form like Gates and Geo, or like Command Twin in this show? I feel like that's a more recent example, but hey, I mean, maybe. It's just the thing is with Command Twin, when you revolved, it was like the same thing, but now the colors are swapped. With this, it's like when you revolve this, it doesn't work. He's going to be an upside down buffalo. It's like you're not going to revolve Geats 9. Like, but like it's fine because it revolves to transform. So it's like this, I don't know. Wait, the fantasy buckle matches the color of the ninja buckle. What if or the monster buckle? What if they go together since we have yet to see a rider that matches monster color-wise? That would be funny because Nago's never used monster. I mean, the buckles don't really match color-wise either, though. It's just the form. This matches monster as a form, but it doesn't match the buckle. Punkjack V Cinema. Yeah, let's give him sure, let's give him a piece of I don't know. He's not my favorite character, so I'm like, okay. Would Ask be considered a Ninja Rider? Not according to the Tycoon X Shinobi special. I wonder if Rogue will be in Outsiders. It's possible. That's actually who I would want to return, I think. Him and Mad Rogue. Give us Rogue versus Mad Rogue. I feel like Dark Geats is supposed to be like Kamen Rider Gaim in his summer movie, how he was mind-controlled in his lemon energy form. That was his villain form in that movie. That would be possible. That would be really funny. Not funny, but that would be cool. I think that would be interesting. I'm kind of curious, who's the actual final antagonist? It's me. Can we all admit that the Shark Raise Buckle is an amazing idea? Mostly to make a fishing rod crank to make the sound, maybe? Yes. I'm upset because the form looks cool, the buckle looks cool, and it's just the concept art. So kudos to that child for coming up with that because he made a really cool form and it's never gonna happen. Or maybe they'll make it in 5 years for random like the X-Aid Gashats. Wondering if theoretically Buffamao would let what's his name switch power sets between Rider and Yamato. That could be interesting. Even though I don't know if he really cares about being a Yamato anymore. He only did it to serve an end. So this last thing I've been swapping to for a bit. We should probably talk about this. Because it's not really much of anything right now. It's the name of our next Kamen Rider. Kamen Rider Gotchard. It's a name. It's basically this is the only real hard confirmation of what's happening. It's a weird name, so it's not really much you could really like take from it. Like I think the one thing there's a few things you could take from it. First of all, the gotch part sounds kind of like gotcha, which is a like the games like the thing in Japan, or like I don't even know what the technical term for it is, like a roulette machine or something. So a gotcha rider is what a lot of people have been jumping to, like what Birth has. Birth's driver was a gotcha machine, so it would be something like that. But then there's also like chard. You could take chard out as a word. It's like whatever chard would mean in this context. Sure, there you go. But then also the ard part was like card, which seems to be the real usage of it, because I don't have a picture here, but there's this one page that has said that Gotchard is Kamen Rider Yu-Gi-Oh. That is what they said. They said it is Kamen Rider Yu-Gi-Oh. Now, obviously it's a rumor. We don't know if it's 100% right. But the thing is, it's from a page that's been pretty reliable. Like they've talked about, they've leaked like figure arts releases that have been pretty much 100% right. They leaked, like they said, Boost Mark II and some gun weapon would be the super form for Geats, and they said this back in like September. So or like November, something like that. They were the first site to say Geats was Fox themed, and they said that the secondary rider would be a ninja. And this was before we got any new, this was when people still thought Geats would be wolf, axe, and Viking themed, which is clearly not what happened. So it seems like a somewhat reliable piece of information to say that Gotchard is Kamen Rider Yu-Gi-Oh. Thing is, what does that mean? Like, what is... I haven't seen Yu-Gi-Oh, so it's not... I know what Yu-Gi-Oh is, obviously. But, I don't know... Like, the big takeaway is obviously, like, card. It sounds like they're saying it's going to be a card theme. The thing is, why would you say Kamen Rider Yu-Gi-Oh? You could have just said cards. We're going to have cards again. So, to say it's Kamen Rider Yu-Gi-Oh, I feel like that has to mean... Maybe I'm just reading into this too much, but I feel like to say Yu-Gi-Oh, Kamen Rider Yu-Gi-Oh, it has to mean that's something else is happening here. So at least what I'm thinking is that, as far as I know, again, I haven't seen Yu-Gi-Oh, but I believe that Yu-Gi-Oh is a card game. I know that. So, like, what if the card gimmick this time around are actual cards, like, I mean, not they have always been cards, but like actual playing cards. Like in Ryuki and Decade, they were just cards you put in the belt. And same with Blade, but I believe Blades were all like actual playing cards, like a deck of cards that you could buy at Target. So what if this is like a fictional card game? There's a fictional card game in this universe, and then they can use those cards to become Kamen Riders. So like that would be a really smart / fun / interesting way to market the toy cards, because you're marketing them as card, like it is a card game. Like, go and buy cards and play a card game, or you can get a belt too, and you can then you can play as a Kamen Rider with these cards. So like that's at least what I think if they're saying Kamen Rider Yu-Gi-Oh. Another thing too is that I think I believe there's like this in Yu-Gi-Oh, they have like these things on their arm, like a big thing. So I was also thinking like maybe that is what they mean by Kamen Rider Yu-Gi-Oh, in the sense of like there's some weird contraption that you use the cards in, besides just always it's been insert a card and use the card. Like maybe it's some other device that uses the cards or something like that. Well, I guess Blade did something like that, but it would be a bit different because it's like an arm mounted device, which would probably mean that's something you want to include with the belt. So maybe it's like a drive situation where it's a device you use with the belt to transform. It is not just the belt with cards. When you say Kamen Rider Yu-Gi-Oh, there's a lot that you can extrapolate from that. Maybe it just means the main character's name is Yugi. That could just be all they meant. But I feel like if we got Ard at the end here, and then card show happening, it's a thing. There's definitely, it seems like I think we are getting card gimmicks. So that's interesting. We haven't gotten card gimmicks in Rider since Decade. So unless you count the Laser Raise Riser, but those aren't really cards. So my idea sounds more like Digimon Tamers in Yu-Gi-Oh! In case I do know, I learned about Digimon Tamers yesterday. In case you haven't seen that, in Tamers, Digimon is a card game and you use cards to get their Digimon the power of other Digimon. I'm not sure how that's not like Yu-Gi-Oh! In Yu-Gi-Oh! They just use cards, don't they? I'm kidding. I haven't seen it. But, I mean, yeah, I don't know. You have to... What does Kamen Rider Yu-Gi-Oh! Mean? This is the big question we'll be asking for the next few months. What does Kamen Rider Yu-Gi-Oh! Mean? And as soon as we get the answer, we'll all be like, oh, of course. It means that the plot is just a one-for-one copy of Yu-Gi-Oh! But with different names and a Kamen Rider paint of code. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I thought. Maybe the transformation would be similar to the Providence card and how you swipe it in the driver. Yeah, that could be. They haven't had a swipe card thing yet. There's also, like, there's been a bunch of rumors. I don't really... this is the reason I'm giving this rumor so much credit is because it's coming from a credible source. A lot of other time, there's a lot of other rumors going on right now, and they're always just... they always end up wrong. But, a few of them have been saying, like, the main rider's gimmick will be eggs, because gacha machine, but, we have this card thing, so probably it's not happening. Then there's another one that said, or actually this one is fine, but like, I don't know, I still don't really believe it that much, where it says like the cards will have chips in them, which would mean it would act like, I at least to me, it sounds like it would act like the Ultraman Orb cards where you scan them and stuff. You don't insert them into devices, which they haven't really done in Rider yet. So that would be an interesting take. But then I'm not sure how that ties into Kamen Rider Yu-Gi-Oh! So, if I could turn any character into a Kamen Rider, who would it be? Majin from Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger. The original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series was mostly about games in general and not just card games. It's just that the card game arc was so popular that it became its own reboot series revolved around the card game. That's really funny. Did not know that. Because I just assume... I just think of card games when I think of Yu-Gi-Oh! So, but like, so then, what? Again, then it's like, what did they mean by Kamen Rider Yu-Gi-Oh! Did they mean the cards? Did they mean the season with a lot of games? What's happening? Maybe the cards are linked to the monsters of the season, since monster cards are the key part of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Game. That's possible. We actually do have a leak, like I think a pretty concrete leak. It's actually where these things came from. And it's supposed to be that, like, the first Gotchard toy set is water and mechanical. That is, I know sounds very vague, but that is... that is the sound that is there. So, not the sound, that is the name that they have given. So, maybe there's like an elemental thing going on, like a fire card, water card, mechanical card, earth card, ice card, light card, blah blah. Like they're all element cards. But I feel like at a certain point you'd run out of cards, and you probably want like a lot of cards. I would assume you'd like to sell a lot of cards because cards are very cheap and easy to produce. I assume. So I assume you want to sell a lot of cards. People describing leaks they see is always funny. Like when the leaker described Toradora Gonjin as the power loader from Aliens. This is true. Leaks are always very funny. Someone said that the King-Ohgers looked like the they said they look like the Power Rangers movie Power Rangers, but they did not specify which. So it was like, we have 2 Power Rangers movies. So it's like, did you mean the 2017 ones, or did you mean the 1990 whenever ones? It seemed a lot of people thought they meant 2017, but it seems like they meant the 90s ones because King-Ohgers are spandexy. So I think that's funny. What if we get Gamba Riders from Gamba Rising? That would be cool. Let's do that. Also, yeah, that's true. If they do cards, they're definitely going to be the Gamba Rising cards, which would also be very bad because that means the cards will be inaccurate and no one will buy them. When it turns out it's actually just a Geats sequel. Yes. Ace's New Desire Grand Prix. Yu-Gi-Oh! I saw that each rider is a different element. I feel like, I mean, that's possible, actually. I was going to say, I feel like if they released a set of water mechanical, I was going to say I don't think that would mean they're riders, but it definitely could. We would have a season where cards are... I'm so used to Geats where to make a new rider you need an extra piece, not just a buckle. I've forgotten that you can just make a new gimmick, and that actually could be a new rider. So, if the Yu-Gi-Oh thing is really happening, if the main character doesn't get a very wacky and colorful hairstyle like all the Yu-Gi-Oh protagonists, I would get pissed off. Maybe that's what they meant by Kamen Rider Yu-Gi-Oh. The main character just has funny hair. 01 and Revice have Shark and Megalodon. Saber has Blades and a Water Rider. Geats has the Water Buckle. Now Gotchard Water again. Water is a very easy power set to give someone, so I guess that is where that comes from. I feel like in the show they would do What Do? You dated in the first episode and tell us what's going on, like in the intro. I assume this is a Yu-Gi-Oh reference. I don't know. I did not forget the Turbo movie. If someone said they said the Power Rangers movie. If they're talking about Power Rangers Turbo, they would say the Turbo Power Rangers movie, or they would say they look like Car Rangers, since I assume they are more familiar with Car Ranger than Power Rangers Turbo. So if they said the Power Rangers movie, they probably meant the 2 that are called Power Rangers, not the one that's just their suits from Japan. Gotchard is fake. The next season is Kamen Rider Punkjack. That is wrong, actually. I have it on good authority. That's wrong. Elements were used in Kamen Rider Saber, though. I mean, they've been using animals since... 01 was animal themed, Revice was animal themed, Geats is somewhat animal themed, so they reuse motifs all the time. Memorial card sets. Let's not do that. It's gonna feel slightly weird to have a season without 25 Kamen Riders in it. I mean, this could have 25 Kamen Riders. We have no reason to think it won't. Cards seem a bit boring for a gimmick toy, especially by modern rider standards. I mean, Ultraman did cards very recently. They did, like, they had Trigger with Trigger, they had their first gimmick with their own sounds, and then they followed it up with cards. So, I mean, it's if it'll make money, or if they want to do something different, they can, because they can pump out a ton of cards. Like, they haven't really been pumping out a lot of raise buckles. So with cards, they can make tons and tons and tons of cards. So they can make a lot of money. Wouldn't they have meant the 2017 movie because the King-Ohgers are all one color? We don't know what they meant because they just said Power Rangers movie. Maybe they did mean 2017 because they all have one color, but maybe they also meant the 90s one because they're very colorful and spandexy. Who knows? Reiwa is the era of animal riders. Yes, exactly. Kamen Rider Yu-Gi-Oh could mean similar to Gaim with the Invest games. That's what I'm assuming that it will be. That it's a card game that exists in universe, and then they introduce belts into it, and now you can use the cards with the belt. It would be really cool, I guess, if like maybe the belt like interacted with the cards differently based on that's what all of them do, I guess. Like, they have different features for the cards, based on like the card that you're using. But like, maybe like there's like only certain cards are transformation devices because maybe it's like if you build a deck and then you have one like cards that are like your leader or whatever, and then other cards are like attacks, and then other cards are like energy, like in Pokemon, and others are like summons. So maybe if you use like energy, you get like, it plays like a generic power-up sound. If you put in like a summon, it'll summon a friend. You can only use like the main like the summon leader card as your transformation device or something like that. That would be really cool, I think. Would I buy something like a 100 core ID set with obscure rider cores? Absolutely. I would love that. That would be so cool. Throw in all the random props and riders, cracked versions. I would totally buy that. That would be really fun. I think it'd be cool if the riders have an element like water and also something not natural like build. That could be interesting. I would like to not do a half and half thing, because like Geats has done it so well. It's like, how do you even follow that up? Like it's fine to not do half and half because Geats has done it so well. So I could see it being a bird themed series with puzzle pieces as a gimmick. I'm not sure where. I don't really see bird or puzzle pieces in the name or Kamen Rider Yu-Gi-Oh at all, but hey, maybe it will be bird themed. Maybe there's a bird in Yu-Gi-Oh I'm not aware of. I know it may still be a bit early for this since we are most of the way through, but what have I thought of Geats as a season? I love Geats as a season. I think it's so cool. I think I would honestly say my biggest, what it really boils down to why I enjoyed so much is like the story arc aspect, like the little gimmicky nature of it, like that they've named these story arcs and their different DGP rounds is really cool, but it breaks up the story in such like a fun and like unique way. Like we go like 8 episodes in or 9 episodes in, and then we do a reset, and then we kind of like do new things from there. Or like when Ryder gets to the 16 episode point where they have to shake everything up and whatever, it was already part of this thing they established, and then we get the new like game show arc. And we do that for a while, and then we mix it up, and now we've got the JGP. Then we do that for a bit, and we mix it up, and we get the Desire Royale. The show keeps reinventing itself, and I really like that, because a lot of times in Rider, it's like, oh, like it kind of feels like we're going through the motions, or like we're just kind of repeating or spinning our wheels for a bit. But with not Revice. I was thinking of Revice when I was thinking of spinning its wheels, because Revice kind of did that. But with Geats, like it keeps reinventing itself and stuff. Like we've got maybe like less than 10 episodes of the show, and like we've hit this reset point, and it's like, where does the show go now? We've defeated the bad guys, essentially. The DGP is gone, or now it's Ace's DGP. So it's like, where does the show go from this point? But it's like we've hit this supernatural conclusion point to now do this reset again. So, and like especially too, like the JGP, the fact they didn't like do the JGP like more than one arc, because I would say I think that might be my least. I don't know, I do need to sit and think about it, because it's between that and the Desert Star one. But like they didn't keep the Jamato Grand Prix going for like a long time. Like it was this little chunk of the show. It developed the characters, it did some different interesting things, and it ended with Buffa getting his wish, and then we move on from the show in a different way. Like it didn't overstay its welcome. It was this perfect little chunk of the show that accomplished what it wanted to do. And I think I just love that. I think it's really cool. So definitely, I love Geats, and that's also part of why I'm not like super interested in Gotchard, because I'm like, or like like I saw the leak was out for the new Kamen Rider name, and I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna go watch Geats. Like I really like Geats. I really love Geats. So I'm not like clamoring all over ready for the next Kamen Rider. I'm like, no, I want to enjoy this season that I've really enjoyed after it's been happening. So what are my thoughts on the Memorial Laser Rays Riser? I am upset because, well, okay, I'm like upset because it seems like that they're making that just so they can include 2 more sounds, and it's like you couldn't have included that in the original Laser Rays Riser, because there are sound codes they just didn't add. So it's like they just didn't think that far ahead, which is weird because they usually think far ahead. But then at the other hand, it's a memorial laser raise riser. So I'm just going to sell the one I have now whenever I get the memorial. So because if it was two laser raise risers, I'd want both. But one's a better version of the toy I already have, so I'll just sell the toy I already have. So, yeah. Do I think I will beat Achilles in the Geats predictions? I honestly, I don't even know, because some of my predictions in the ones I came up with in the last round, I said that Geats would be like a simulation, and I said it would tie into Genmu Presidents. Both of those have been wrong, so I'm losing a ton of points. However, I did get the ID Core final form prediction right. However, a lot of the other things I've gotten very wrong. Like, I said there would be like 21 riders. We are way past 21 at this point, which is awesome. Like, it's a lot of fun because a lot of stuff I've gotten wrong are just reasons I like this show more. But I'm also going to be losing Toku predictions, so what's more important to me, my pride in Toku predictions or my enjoyment of a show? So yeah, we went back to we went back to discussing Geats a bit, didn't we? Doesn't Boost Mark III form the bottom half of the 9 suit? Yes, it does. Boost Mark 9 came from the goddesses / aces power, so I think maybe character and Beroba's wishes will be what gives Psycho new buff in her new forms. No, because they just wish to stay in the world after the grand end. So, I mean, they'll probably play into the forms, but they're not. The wishes specifically are not what's giving them the form directly. Maybe the laser raise risers transform into new buckles. That would be kind of fun. I feel like the post-show Geats stuff will boost the rider number up to 50 by the end of it all. That's very true. They could definitely pump out a ton of new riders in the V cinemas. What if they made an actual card game and it gets so popular they consider it a separate IP? Or they continue it as a separate IP? I mean, they could maybe continue it. Like Ganba Rising keeps going. But I don't think they'll continue it as a separate thing. Are we counting each unique Jamato rider individually, or are we counting them as a group? They are definitely a group, because they're all a Jamato rider. It's not like Jamato rider alpha, Jamato rider beta. Like, it's like, would you count Revice as 100 riders because we saw a bunch of Demons Troopers? I wouldn't. So, yeah. Do I think the new Game Master might become a rider and it's not part of the Glare and Gazer group? I mean, maybe he's using the Laser Raise Riser, one of the extra cards that we know is happening, but I think it's more likely he'll use, maybe he's Dark Eats, maybe there's that, or he'll use the Vision Driver. I don't know. I think he'll be like a Glare, they'll just repaint Glare again, and it's just going to use the Glare sound. So, yeah, we are just talking about Geats at this point, because Gotchard, not much else to discuss with Gotchard, so we'll have to wait and see until next month, I guess, if anything will happen with Gotchard. And Geats, obviously, we'll see what happens. Actually, yeah, Geats, next month will be exciting, because Geats, we're going to probably get all of these, or most of these, or we'll probably have looks at all of these by next month. Spider Kumonos will not have any, or no, we'll probably see the combination mecha, and I believe we're supposed to be seeing the Gira power-up next month as well. And then Gotchard, maybe we'll get new information, but probably not, because we're still a bit early out. But yeah, I think I will be ending the stream here. So thank you everyone for coming out. Remember, if you want to see my upcoming video, be sure to subscribe. What is that video? I have no idea. Or you can check out my Patreon for only $2. You'll get to see that video early as soon as it's done. Probably will do some preview clips as well, which will be Patreon exclusive as I'm working on it. So make sure to check that out if you're interested. Once again, subscribe. check out my Twitter, Instagram, Discord if you want to interact or see what I'm up to outside of YouTube. And yeah, that will just about do it for this. So thank you everyone who showed up and said hello. This was fun. I had fun talking about stuff, all the stuff. And I hope to see you next time. Thank you for watching.